Hello, welcome back to Board Game Bananas. Here are the bananas, and today the board game, it's Ticket to Ride Europe. Ticket to Ride is a family level board game in which players are competing against each other to score points by building a rail network across Europe. You win by scoring the most points, you score points by placing trains down between European cities, but let's not get ahead of ourselves, let's start by setting up. Set up Ticket to Ride Europe like this. Place the board in the middle of the table, hand each player all of the train tokens in their corresponding colour, and also the 3 station tokens in the same colour. Then place this piece on the 0 around the board. Take the train cards, which look a little bit like this, shuffle them and deal 4 to each player. Then take the remaining cards and place 5 of them face up by the side of the board. Place the European Express bonus card by the side of the board. This will be handed out at the end of the game to the player with the longest connected train line. Next, separate the ticket cards into one pile of long distance routes. These are denoted by having blue on the cards, and one pile of slightly shorter distances where the points are given in red. Then take the long distance routes, hand 1 to each player, and then put the remaining cards in the box without anybody seeing them. Then shuffle the remaining ticket cards, hand 3 to each player, and place the rest by the side of the board so they're easily accessible. And at that point, you're ready to begin playing. So, what is this game actually about? The winner of the game is the player who has scored the most points, and there are 4 ways in which you can score points. One way to score points is by building a railway. The number of points that each railway gets you is demonstrated on the scoring table that comes in the game, and generally speaking, the longer the railway is, the more points it will get you. So in this case, because my railway is 3 train carriages long, that will score me 4 points. And one way to score additional points is to place these railways so that they complete the tracks given to you on your ticket card. In this case, I've built a connecting railway from Paris to Vienna, and that would score me 8 additional points. I've already mentioned the European Express card. Whichever player has the longest connecting route at the end of the game is handed this card, and that is worth an additional 10 points. And the final way of scoring points, at the end of the game, if you still have stations that have not been placed on the map, each station that's not been used is worth an additional 4 points. You count your points and track your progress by moving this guy around the track whenever you score. But be careful, if at the end of the game you have some ticket cards on which the route has not yet been completed, you would then get minus this amount of points. And that's all well and good, but how do we actually play the game? On your turn, you can do any 1 out of 4 possible moves. One possibility is to build a railway. If I wanted to build a railway between Frankfurt and Berlin, you see they're connected either by a red line or by a black line. If I was to play 3 black cards, that would allow me to claim this railway as my own. Why 3 cards? Well, because there's 3 squares there. If I was trying to claim a shorter railway like here, then I would have to play 2 blue cards. In the deck as well, there are these lovely colourful joker cards. These can be used to represent any colour whatsoever. So if I didn't have 3 black, I could use, for example, 2 black and 1 joker, or 2 jokers and 1 black, or even 3 jokers if I wished. You can claim whichever train line you want on the board. It doesn't have to be connected to the trains that you've already put down. And once a train line has been claimed by a player, that's it, that line has been claimed. That being said, if there's a double track like there is between Frankfurt and Berlin, another player could, if they want, claim the red line that goes parallel to the line that I have just claimed. That only applies in 4 or 5 player games. It does not apply if you're playing 2 or 3 player. Some of the tracks are coloured in grey. These can be claimed by a combination of any colour cards that you want. Again, so long as it's the right number of cards and so long as they're the same colour. Except, of course, you can use a locomotive to represent any colour you like. Another thing you can do on your turn is to pick some new train cards. You start with 4 in your hand, but obviously that's not going to be enough as you try to expand your train track empire throughout Europe. What you could do is to take the top 2 from the deck of cards, or you can take some from the 5 that are face up next to the board. You can do that simply by taking one, replacing it, and then maybe taking another one. However, if you're looking at the face-up cards here, if you choose to take a Locomotive Joker card, then that is the only card you take. So you can take 2 cards either from here or from here, unless you're taking a face-up Locomotive Joker, then that's the only card that you take. Another thing you can do on your turn is to build a station. The reason why you might want to do this is, let's say that for one of my ticket cards, I have to build between Frankfurt and Warsaw. Now, I've already built between Frankfurt and Berlin, but this red player has beaten me to building between Berlin and Warsaw. What I could do though is place a station on Berlin, and that means that any track going in or out of Berlin, without knocking the station over, any track going in or out of Berlin that currently belongs to another player, I will be able to use it. So with a station here, I will be able to claim that entire track as my own. You can build a station on any city that doesn't currently have a station already on it. And when you build the station, you don't have to immediately declare whether it's this route, this route, this route, or this route that I'm going to claim as my own. You can wait until the end of the game before making that decision. Finally, the last option of things that you can do on your turn is to take more tickets. Basically, the way you would do this is you would secretly look at the top 3 tickets, and then you have to keep at least one of them. In this case, I'm going to keep Paris to Zagreb because I've already got some trains along that route, and I don't want to keep the others, so I'm going to place them underneath the pile. The reason why I don't want to take extra tickets is because at the end of the game, if I've not built these routes, then I would get minus 10 points and minus 6 points. And obviously, I don't want to do that. So you don't want to have too many tickets that you don't intend on building. The Europe edition of this game introduces ferry lines and also tunnels. To build a ferry line, as you can see, in this case it's grey, so I can use whichever colour I like. But the first 2 squares here have a train symbol on them, and that means that 2 of my 4 cards have to be locomotives. So in this case, something like this is what I would have to play in order to build this ferry line. Tunnels are a little bit more tricky. Let's say that I was trying to build a tunnel here. I would place down my 3 cards as usual, but what I would then have to do is draw the top 3 cards from this deck, and if any of them are orange or a locomotive, which you see that I got, then I would need to play a 4th orange or locomotive card in order to build this tunnel. Had I picked up 2 locomotives or 3, or 2 oranges or 3, I would then need 2 or 3 extra orange or locomotive cards in order to build the tunnel. The game ends when one of the players has 2 or fewer train tokens remaining, then everybody finishes their last turn, and then we count the points to find out who is the winner. And it really is that simple. My tip would be, when you're playing, make sure that you complete your longest train route, because you really don't want to be stuck with minus 20 points at the end of the game. And then of course build your tickets based around that. I'd love to know what you guys think about Ticket to Ride Europe. I do have a review video coming very shortly, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that one. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoy the game. I've got to say, I've been having a lot of fun with it. But yeah, take care, good luck, goodbye, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.